Hey guys, stay patient here and welcome to this week's episode of the Trophy Update. Now I want to apologise first and foremost for last week. I didn't put up an episode last Sunday because I was unwell. You can probably tell that I'm still a bit hoarse, my throat's a bit dodgy still. So I'm a lot better than I was. I literally couldn't speak last week. So I'm getting there. I'm nearly better, but still a little ways to go yet. Things tend to drag out with me due to my existing health problems. But, we're back to carry on with this weekly show. Obviously, a lot of you guys watching today may be new to the channel because you may have noticed my sub count has started really rocketing up over the last few days and few weeks. The end of last year was great. We had a couple thousand new subs within the last couple of months. And then literally in the first week of January, we've received probably 700 new subscribers, which is insane. So if you're new to the show and you haven't seen any of the existing episodes, basically what we do here each week is we take a look at psnprofiles.com, which is a site that tracks all of the trophies on all the different PlayStation consoles. And we look at the most recent games to be added to the servers. So some of those games are ones that have already released or are, just about to release this week. Other games are ones that aren't going to release for quite a while. Sometimes there's weeks before a game comes out. About a month ago, we looked at one called Black and White Bushido. And, this is literally probably a month ago now, and the game still hasn't released. I can't find it on the PlayStation Store. The trophies are there on the server, so the game exists, but maybe it's been delayed or something. But the beauty of this is that we can sort of hunt down those easy platinums before they release, before anyone knows about them. And we can take a look at the AAA games, try and figure out what we can about those games based on their trophies. As a result of this, there are some games like, for instance, My Name is Mayo, that I believe I was the first YouTuber to discuss the trophies for that game because we saw it, we noticed it several weeks before it was released. And I was able to do some research. I looked into the Steam version of the game, looked into what was involved and the names of the trophies, and figured out that it was going to be a ridiculously easy platinum. And then obviously a few weeks went by, the game released, and everyone else was putting up videos about it, talking about how easy it is. But this show is where we, discussed it for the very first time. So this is kind of where everything starts. All the rest of my content pretty much exists off the back of this weekly video because of course I put up a lot of top 10s and countdowns when it comes to trophies, easy platinums and things like that, and I put up a lot of guides for the smaller, quicker games as well as some of the bigger ones. Obviously I've done guides for Titanfall and Call of Duty and lots of games like that, Overwatch of course, but this is where all that stuff starts from because we're doing all this research every week, finding these games, and then that eventually ends up with me doing the guides and putting those games into top 10 lists and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to be ahead of the curve and you want to find out about a lot of those easy platinums that I do discuss in those countdown videos, if you want to find out about them well in advance, then watch this show every week. It's the show that it's my content that gets the fewest views, out of all my regular content. All the rest of the content gets thousands of views every time I put up a video. And this one sits around sort of 700-800 up to 1,000 views each week. But because, although it doesn't get a lot of views, it's my chance to sort of interact with you guys in a more kind of relaxed setting. So it's not scripted, it's not rigidly planned. I do a lot of research for it and it is a lot of work. It takes me all day Sunday usually doing the research and then putting the video together. But like I say, it's my chance to do a more informal video and just kind of chat with you guys really. It's quite relaxed and casual. And it's kind of my way of giving back to my subscribers because it's really all the rest of the content on the channel that brings the subscribers in. But then once you're in, hopefully, as the subscriber count goes up, which it has been doing a lot recently, hopefully this series will take off and get more views each week. And this is something that I do anyway, as a trophy hunter, I do a lot of research on the recent releases and the upcoming releases, and I thought why not just share that with you guys. So that's what this show is all about for those of you that are new to it. I have to apologise, however, that this week, even though it's been 2 weeks since my last episode, there's very little to discuss. So if we come here to psnprofiles.com as usual, and we go straight to the games section, and you'll notice here, we have had a few games added since last night when I last checked. But if we scroll down, you'll notice that 2 weeks ago, I think we discussed the stacking list of Sherlock Holmes. That's, I think, the third stacking list for that one, of probably the Korean or Chinese list. The Turing test was here, Black and White Bushido, Speedrunners, I believe. Yeah, no, we got up to Air Race Speed. I think that was it. Is that right? Yeah, so it's only been this small collection of games, really, with a few at the top here. Probably about 10 games have been added. And that's because we're in January, so this is sort of the time of year when things really quieten down, especially when it comes to Western releases. We still get, a fair few games from Japan and other countries over in the East. And that's actually something that we're going to talk about today, is the Japanese visual novels. Now, this is a subject we usually skip over. There's always a ton of Japanese games added to the servers every week, and I don't stop and discuss them because I know that it's not going to be really worthwhile, most of you listening to, because you don't have access to a Japanese account, or you can't, most people aren't bothered importing Japanese games from Japan. But I have had a few people, in their comments, they've asked me about the easiest visual novels. Now, the reason they've asked about these is because they know that some of the Japanese visual novels, especially on Vita, are among the easiest and fastest platinums ever. And there are tons of them. We talk a lot about, My Name is Mayo and Nublar and Her Majesty's Spiffing and all these quick platinums that can be done in less than an hour. But some of these Japanese games, just to show you some of my collection here. Ugh, crumbs. I think you can probably see these. Now, this is my collection. I've got some of the Della Grisaya games. I don't want to block the mic here. You'll see a couple versions of Root Letter. We've got, to be honest, a lot of the names are in Japanese, so you can't really pronounce them. But, you can see probably 10, 15 games here. Now, pretty much all of these can be platted in less than an hour, and a lot of them take about 15 to 30 minutes. So they are technically the fastest platinums ever, but we don't talk about them much because they're not readily available for everyone to be able to play. But of course, with the fact that things are quite quiet on PSN profiles and, just generally in the release schedule, I thought we'd take this opportunity to show you guys, we're not going to go through all the games, but we're going to show you how to sort of find them yourself. Because you'll notice, games will get added with Japanese names, and you'll think, how do I search for that? How do I find a copy to buy? It's in Japanese characters. I can't type that out. I could copy and paste it, but they all have like an English version of the name as well, or at least a translated version. So we're going to show you how to find that, and then how to kind of find trophy guides and how to buy the game or whatever. Now, what sort of prompted me to take a look at this was a couple of things. Firstly, there was a game added this week, which we can use as an example. That's this one here. Now, you'll see 89.61%. Generally, you'll know that a game is a Japanese visual novel because the name will probably be in Japanese and the percentage will be extremely high. So if we take this one as an example here, if we click on it, usually you'll get some artwork, from the front of the disc or whatever, or the front of the case, and you'll get the name, the logo of the game in the box here on the right. So what I tend to do is I'll copy the name of the game, and then you can go to a site called playasia.com. And a lot of you, if you're real hardcore trophy hunters, you'll know about this site. This is a site that sells games from all different regions. So we'll come here, play-asia.com it is, but you can put in playasia.com, it will still kind of redirect you. But if we paste the name of the game into this site, there we go, you'll see it comes up. It'll come up with a few different things because I think they do movies and all sorts of stuff. But you'll notice here, this is a Vita game, you can tell there. pardon me. So if we click on it, you'll notice straight away it's a lot of money, and they tend to be. The Japanese games do tend to be very expensive. But this is a great way of finding out the translated name of the game so that you can search for it on somewhere like eBay, for instance. Now, eBay is probably the best place to go when buying these games, because what a lot of trophy hunters do is they'll import the game from a site such as PlayAsia, and they'll platinum it, and then they'll sell it on eBay, and then that person will sell it on again, and the same game will do the rounds. They'll go from person to person, people will plat it, move it on, and you'll quite often find a lot of these easy games on eBay. And sometimes it's worth checking, if someone's selling one of these games, check the rest of their items, because quite often they'll have a fair few, and you'll be able to get an idea or get some suggestions of other games that you can then sort of find a guide for and check to see whether they're nice and easy and quick as well. And it's a good way of discovering some of these visual novels. But obviously what you can do here, like I say, is you can copy the name of the title, and we go to eBay. And I haven't actually checked. The problem is when people sell it, it's very difficult to know. Okay, so we've not got any local ones, but we have got international. These are coming from Japan, so they're actually, no, is it even Vita? Here's the Vita ones. Okay, so we've got £56.58, about the same price, and that's about, we'd probably have to whittle it down, actually £73. See, so the problem with the pricing on these games is that you don't know whether it's a good deal or not when you're searching for a price. You just need to think in your head, do I want to pay that price to earn the platinum, and then am I going to be able to sell it again? So you could see it for 70 odd quid and buy it, but then not be able to sell it for that amount yourself, because there's only ever one or two games on eBay of the same title. So it's very difficult to do any kind of price comparison and know how much you're going to be able to sell it for again once you finish with it. Now, although I tend to not really talk much about my trophy service on the channel, because it's, I don't want to make it sound as if I'm here to promote my trophy service, but it's quite valid in this case, because those of you who don't know, I run a trophy service. Basically, people pay me to earn trophies for them, and a lot of people disagree with that. But just to explain that I have health problems, I'm unable to hold down a proper job, and this is something that I can do. It's something I'm good at, and it stops me from just sort of wasting away and living on benefits from the government, So I'd rather have something to do, and this is something that I'm skilled at, something I understand, and it just gives me something to do. I don't earn a huge amount of money through it, but it keeps my brain active and stops me vegetating. But I think it's valid to mention it in this case. Like I say, I don't talk about it much because I know a lot of people aren't going to necessarily agree with it. Probably going to get in trouble here with all the nudity. Well, not nudity, but but yeah. On the service, I have a list of games. I've got hundreds and hundreds of games available there, but I do have some for £20. There's a collection. If you go onto the website that's linked in the description, there's a section of the cheapest platinums, and there are a lot of these Japanese Vita games, the visual novels, and they're all priced at £20. But I do run a special offer, buy 6 for the price of 5, so 6 for £100 basically. So I'm not going to go into that too much because a lot of you don't care about that. I know you're not into buying trophies. It only applies to a few of you. But for those of you who do want to earn these platinums and you don't want to import the game for 50, 60, 70 pounds, then check out my service. That's the whole point of why I've bought them. Obviously, I've spent a lot of money on bringing them in. And in most cases, I haven't even earned enough from selling the trophies to cover the price of the game. But it helps sort of cushion the blow, and I've got the games available for other people if they want them, and it means that I can earn the platinums myself as well. So it's not like I'm making a huge amount of money from it, if any, but it just kind of, it's a service, it's something I provide that saves people having to spend out tons of money just to buy the game when they can buy the trophies for a lot less. Anyway, moving on. Let's show you guys, there's another game actually that kind of prompted me to take a look at this and show you guys how this all works. And that's this one here, because obviously this, on the main page with all the games, on the right hand side, you have all the most popular games, and then you have the easiest games. In other words, the ones with the highest average completion. Now, this one is high even for a Vita visual novel. So out of everyone that's played this, it's only 111 people have played it, but everybody, hang on a sec, let's have a look here. 99.1. Okay, so the percentage is exactly the same for every single trophy. So in other words, 110 out of the 111 people who've played it have played it right the way through and platted it. That one person that's left over hasn't earned a single trophy. So he's obviously loaded up the game on his Vita and then realised that he had to do something and gone away before he popped any trophies, but it's added the game to his collection. So in other words, basically everyone who's played this game has earned the platinum, which is crazy. And that's a higher completion percentage even for, like I say, even for a Vita Japanese visual novel. So we're going to copy the name of this, and I'm going to show you how to go about finding guides for these, because obviously guides are very important for the Japanese games, unless you speak Japanese, because all the trophies are described in Japanese, and the actual game itself is in Japanese. So the way these games work is that, I mean, you know what a visual novel is. Basically, it's a bunch of dialogue. There's not really any moving scenes. It's just still images. It's almost like reading a comic book, basically. It's all anime. And usually what you'll do is you'll go through some options in the settings menu, and the guide, we'll find the guide in a moment, but the guide will explain what to set the options to enable you to skip through the game as quick as possible. So you'll start the game, and then there'll be a button you can press that auto skips, and it will just speed through. And some of the games will have choices you have to make. So it will stop at a dialogue choice, and then the guide will tell you what to choose, and it will tell you if you need to make a save before choosing it, so you can go back to that save later. And some games literally don't even have any dialogue choices. I mean, some of these that I showed you, my collection earlier, you literally start the game up, press the skip button, and just put the Vita down. And it just goes through the whole game, just whizzes through all the dialogue. It would take a lot longer if you were reading the dialogue, maybe a few hours, but you just leave it to play through, and then there might be some other kind of side stories to look through. But it's basically just a way for them to tell a story. And they're very typical Japanese stories, obviously, or at least they look to be based on the visual style. I don't know what's happening in the game half the time. But if we take the name of this game, so remember, what I tend to do is I go to playasia.com, I paste the Japanese name of the game in, because they always have the Japanese and the English name, and then I double check that it is the same game. So here we've got a title here with a bird cage and a ribbon and stuff. So if we go back here, yeah, you can see it's the same title. So we know it's the same game, and the characters look the same as well. So we've got the game, it's £50, down from 55, very expensive. But again, I mentioned about the trophy service, but the other option is, like I said before, to buy them and then sell them on. And sometimes you might actually make some money on them. But if you keep an eye on eBay, what I tend to do is I find a bunch of Japanese games that I want, and then I just every now and again look on eBay. And you want to wait until someone is selling them but doesn't really understand the value of them, and they might be selling them for £20, £25, and then you want to snap them up because you'll be able to sell them on for about 40 probably. But now we have the translated version of the name. We can copy that, and we can search for that in, let's have a look, in eBay, or on eBay. And you'll see here we've got some other copies. They're actually more expensive, so I would look at that and I think straight away, nope, I'm not spending that amount on a 20-minute platinum. But to find the guides, pardon me, there's a great site. Now, I'm going to be upfront about this site, and I don't think it's the site's fault. At one point, I was trying to use this site on my computer, and every time I went to it, it came up with multiple warnings of viruses and Trojan horses and all that kind of stuff. There was, I think, a Windows thing came up. There was also a notification on the site and something in my from my virus software. But I know I've used this site so much before and never had any problems, and I think that might have just been either a virus on my computer kind of making me think there was something wrong, or possibly someone had hacked the site or something. But I will say that if you're like really, really careful about viruses, I don't know, maybe be careful of the site. I don't, like I said, I don't think it's the site's fault. I really don't, because I've used it lots in the past and it is a reputable site. But it's called ps3imports.com, and it's often referred to on PlayStationTrophies.org. They often, oh no, sorry, it's not ps3imports.com. It's .org, I think. And I think it's somehow linked with the PlayStationTrophies.org site in some way. Yeah, so the site's working fine now. This is a great site. I think you do need to sign up to be able to search the forums and the trophy guides. You do need to sign up for an account. And that's just like signing up for PSN profiles or whatever. You just put your PSN details in or something. But then you can go to the trophy guides. Oh, I'm not signed in. Okay. I see my email there. I don't mind that. That's the email that everything through, through YouTube gets sent to. Hang on, have I? Okay. Must have. All right, sorry guys. I must have changed my password, and I'm not going to bother trying to figure it out now. Let me just try quickly. Nope. Sorry about this. I'll try one more. No, okay. I'm going to leave it. Unless it's... Oh, damn it. I'm just going to I get obsessive about this stuff. You know, when I can't think of something, I just... I'm like, no, forget it. And then I'm like, actually, no, I need to figure it out. No, okay. I'll sort that out later. But what you can do is go to the trophy guides and then search for the game. What we're going to do is... we're going to just search. So we're going to copy the name of the game into Google, and then we're just going to search for trophy guide, and there we go. The top result is a ps3imports.org page. Now if you do it this way, you're not going to be locked out if you don't have a membership. So yeah, although you can't, for some reason you can't go to the trophy guides screen, you can go to the individual trophy guides. But obviously if you sign up, just remember your password, not like I did, and you'll be able to sort of browse through the guides and search for them and everything. But you'll notice here, this is how these guides are often sort of structured. They'll have the overview, like on PlayStationTrophies.org. See, this time, this is the one that was in the top 5 easiest games, number 2 easiest games. So more people have earned the plat on this than World of Nublar and My Name is Mayo. Abs Animals doesn't have a plat, so you can... Like, that's literally 3 or... maybe 4 or 5 trophies. It's super easy. It takes literally 5 minutes. So, that's a great one to do just for a few extra trophies. But this game here is this one, the one that we're looking at on the guide. So it gives us 1 out of 10 difficulty, 20 minutes, and then it will give you, obviously, the controls. Now, remember, the controls are different in Japan. So whereas in the Western part of the world, X is confirm and circles go back, it's actually the other way around in Japan. Now they'll give you the buttons, and you want to remember what the in-game menu is. It's always either triangle or square, and they'll switch these back and forth depending on who developed the game. Sometimes backlog will be square and vice versa. But square, you need that to be able to make saves in the game. Anyway, we're just going to show you, they always show you here, because it's all in Japanese, they show you what each of the options is, so make sure to look at the spoiler tags. And then they'll show you the options screen, and they'll tell you what settings to choose. So literally copy all these pages into your options screen, and you can find the options obviously by following this kind of visual guide here. So yeah, once you've set up the options, the actual guide itself, you'll start a game, and then it will give you, like I said, it will give you a list of the choices to make. So you'll fast forward through using whichever button it ends up being. Sometimes it's R1, sometimes you have to swipe the screen across. Sometimes it's right on the D-pad, So you'll get things moving. It will whiz through super quick, and the first dialogue option you come across, you'll choose the first option, which will be this, and then these images will be the trophies that you earn. And then it will tell you to make a save, and you literally go through following the steps like that. Now, this was actually, I thought this was a different game, because I looked at a guide for the other one yesterday, and it looks insane. It looks like it's going to be just ridiculously easy. If we find it again, this one here. So this is one we looked at a moment ago. I just want to show you how easy some of these games are because it's absolutely insane. How do we get, Play Asia, that's going to give us the translated name. Okay, right, so Hatsuro Koto Nakimura, I can't pronounce it. Anyway, so if we do the same thing again, and we search for the trophy guide, hopefully, yep, there we go, ps3imports.org. Right, this is ridiculous. 20 to 45 minutes, but if you scroll down here, you'll notice literally all you need to do, you start a game and press the skip button, and the first 6 trophies will pop just without you doing anything. Literally, you just press the skip button, leave it to auto skip and put the Vita down. You'll come back and there'll be 6 trophies. Then you make a save, and literally there's like about 5 times when you actually have to make a dialogue choice in this whole platinum. So you make a save, choose one of the options, and it'll end, the game will end, you get a trophy. Then you reload that save and choose the other option, it'll end, you'll get the other trophy. And then you start, there's a couple of different games or sort of paths, I guess. So you'll start the game again, but you'll choose the second option. And here, you'll make a choice, then you'll make a save, and from that save, you'll make 3 different choices. And something's fallen down outside. And that'll be it, basically. And then literally all you need to do is go to these different options in the menu screen or in the main menu, just click on them, just to kind of refresh the fact that you've earned 100% of like the CG items and the gallery stuff and background music, all that stuff. So literally, that's why I wanted to talk about these games today, guys, because they are ridiculously easy and quick platinums. They are a lot of money. You can purchase them from My Trophy Service if you want, but you could buy them and sell them on, maybe make some money if you manage to find a good deal on eBay. But let's just show you as well, just quickly, we'll take a look at how you can find these games, because obviously there are tons of games added to PSN profiles with Japanese titles. But what you can do on this website, if you're not familiar with how it works, obviously we use the Games tab every time we're on here, and we go through the most recent releases. When you're on this Games tab, you can change the order. So you could go to average completion. And this will be a good way of finding easy games, because the average completion rating, if it's 90 odd %, like with Nublar and My Name is Mayo, etc., then you know it's going to be easy. But the even better way of finding these easy platinums is by doing it specifically via the trophies menu. So rather than going to games, we're going to click on trophies at the top there along the bar. Now what you can do is you can change all sorts of options. So we're going to change the order here. Now achievers is how many people have achieved it. So it's not necessarily, the highest percentage completion, because some games might have tons of people playing them. So a lot of people have earned the platinum, but it's still a low percentage, So what we're going to do is change it to rarity, and that makes it the percentage, it puts them in order of how many people or what percentage of owners of the game have earned the trophy. Now we are going to, let's have a look. We're going to change it to platinum only under type. And I think it's ascending at the moment. So we're starting off at 0% and going up. But if we do descending, so change the order. Now basically what we have here is a list of all of the platinum trophies on any platform in order of the percentage, like the completion percentage. So the most commonly earned platinum is the one that we were looking at earlier. I believe that was the one that we were checking out earlier, isn't it? Now, if you want to sort of whittle it down a bit more, if you're looking for PS4 games only, then obviously you put it on platforms PS4. And it's quite interesting looking at this, because you can see that Nublar and My Name is Mayo, which are 2 of the games we've spoken about a lot on the channel, they are the 2 most commonly earned, the platinums with the highest percentage. And then we've got Jazzpunk and Her Majesty Spiffing and Orc Slayer. What's this one? This is another Japanese game. Monster Jam Crush It is very high. So you can see, like, this is the kind of stuff I do when I'm researching for a new video. But if we want to take a look at the Japanese Vita games, then if we change it to PS Vita, and I know a lot of you probably don't have a Vita, it didn't sell that well, and I really apologize to you if this is information that's not going to help you in any way, but I didn't want to just skip another week, because there's not a lot to talk about. I could have said, well, let's just leave it, but I wanted to do something for you guys. I wanted to put up some content today. So I figured this is just something that we haven't really spoken about before, and I've had some people request some information on these Vita games. So like I said before, rather than listing them all for you, because I don't know all of the easy ones. I've got a collection myself, but there's plenty of super easy ones that I don't own. And there are so many that really this is the best way of discovering which ones are super easy. So we've got here all of the highest percentage platinums on PlayStation Vita. And of course, there are going to be games like My Name is Mayo, but the vast majority, just look at this, guys. Out of all the easiest games, there is... This is how crazy the Japanese visual novels are. All of the top 50 easiest Vita Platinums, apart from one, are Japanese. So you can literally go through this and go through the process that I showed you of copying the name into PlayAsia, and then copying the translated name into eBay and trying to find the game that way. Obviously, you can search for the trophy guides, like we mentioned. And I mean, that if these are over 90-95% completion, rating, then that they're going to be unbelievably quick and easy, and there's going to be nothing difficult about them whatsoever, because these are the types of games that people buy for the trophies. And you'll notice that not many people have played them. There's only ever like a few hundred. Some of them are over 1,000. But in general, there's a low number of people playing these games because they're very expensive. And I'm guessing they're not, even though they're Japanese games, they're probably not that popular in Japan because they never have that many people who've bought them. I mean, what probably happens is that the people who buy them in Japan to enjoy them for the stories, they probably aren't on this site. So maybe there are a lot more people playing them, but those people aren't trophy hunters. Maybe trophy hunting isn't as big in Japan. I mean, there are plenty of them, obviously, but it might not be as big a pastime as it is here in the West. So that could very well, that could explain why there's a low number of people on here. Because it's only really people who've ever used this site, or, if someone else puts your name into PSN profiles, then it kind of adds you to their server. And there's only, I think, a couple of million people on here or something. But there you have it, guys. That's how you go about finding some of the easiest and fastest platinums ever, and how you go about trying to buy them, trying to access them, because it's a bit of a nightmare. But, if you know where to shop around, hopefully you'll be able to find some bargains. And occasionally you do see them pop up for £20 to £25, which is a lot of money still. But it will allow you, if you get one for that cheap, then you will probably be able to sell it for considerably more to make a bit of profit off it as well. Now, before we go, we are going to talk a bit about what I've been playing over the last few weeks, because there's been some glitches, like helpful glitches, some sort of negative glitches that I've come across, and I wanted to share with you guys. Now, I haven't really done anything on my account, but I have done a lot of work for my trophy service customers, and it's blown up recently. I've got some friends helping me, 2 or 3 friends who are working for me as well, and things have gone crazy. But in the last few weeks, among the games that I've done have been, firstly we had Fallout 4. Now, obviously this is one I platted straight when it released. It took me a few weeks. I played it thoroughly. I'm a massive, massive Fallout fan. Fallout 3 is my favourite game of all time. Some of you will know that already. And Fallout 4, I loved it. Obviously, I think I do still prefer Fallout 3. But, it's a game that I earned the platinum. And then when all the DLC started releasing, I decided to start a new character to do the DLC with and still go through the story and everything as well. And I was streaming it. So the DLC was taking me a long time to earn. Because I was streaming it, I was doing a stream that was, the name of it was like full playthrough with tips for beginners. And the idea was I was kind of helping people I was just giving out tips and I was answering questions in the stream, and it actually got quite popular. I spent a few weeks doing it pretty much all day, every day. And, a lot of people said I helped them a lot because it's one of those games that doesn't really describe or doesn't explain things to you all that well. And the reason I thought to do a kind of a tips series, a playthrough that involved a lot of tips, was because when the game first released, I put up quite a few videos talking about the different features of the game and how to use them. And those videos did quite well. So I thought, let's turn it into a full stream. Anyway, because of that, because I got too busy to be able to carry on the stream at some point, I thought, I'm not going to carry on and earn the rest of the DLC trophies. I'm going to leave them until I'm able to start streaming again. So I haven't actually 100%ed the game myself, unbelievably. I've spent hundreds of hours playing it, literally hundreds of hours. And I have earned the 100% for a couple of different customers. But this time was actually the first time I've done the new DLC, which is Nuka World. And I thought I'd just warn you guys, because I know some of you, with the fact that the DLC was on offer quite recently over the Christmas period, some of you might be starting to play it now. So on Nuka World, there are some trophies that involve finding, collectibles. For instance, you need to cook or create every different type of Nuka-Cola. So there are all these special types that you can create using recipes, and you have to find the recipes first. There are also some books, some skill books that you need to find. So I thought to myself, you know what? Because I heard that some of those recipes can disappear under the world and be difficult to grab if an explosion goes off near them, I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my way around the whole world and get those collectibles first. So that's what I did. But it kind of, I don't know if it was that specifically that created the glitch. But what happened is when I went to carry on with the story, you need to basically complete a mission in each area of this theme park. And in one of the areas, it basically glitched to the point where I couldn't continue. I had to follow this guy, or find this guy in 3 different locations and sort of fight him, but then he'd disappear. He's a magician. So if you get to the point where you're, having to fight against a magician, try not to do everything else first. I think the problem was that I kind of explored everywhere before carrying on with the story, and that kind of messed with the objectives updating properly when I got to the area as part of the story, because I'd already been there and I'd already entered certain buildings and stuff like that. So when I reloaded a save from before starting the DLC, which I recommend you do, because like I say, it can glitch and other people have experienced the same thing. It literally stops you from completing the game. There is something, I think you can technically, because the next objective is to meet a guy on the roof. It doesn't show up in your inventory or in your quest log or whatever. So what you can do is you can take your power armor and fit it with a jetpack, which requires you to have certain skills. So it might require you to play a lot and level up, so you've got the skill points to be able to purchase the ability to build a jetpack. But once you've got that jetpack, you can use it to get up on the roof, whereas you're normally supposed to use an elevator. But because the objective doesn't update, the elevator's not working. So you can use a jetpack, but that's like a big long workaround if you haven't got the right skills already. So I recommend, if you're playing the Nuka World DLC, make a save at the start of the DLC and then carry on with the story. Just focus on the story. Even if the guide says do this other stuff first, just focus on the story and go straight to the magician's area. I forget what the name of it is, but it will say in your quest log. Go and find the magician, get that part of the story done, and then you can do whatever you like, because nothing else seemed broken to me. I mean, maybe it is, but it does sound quite glitchy, the DLC on the whole. So just be careful with that one. Now we'll move on to a couple of very useful glitches. So these are ones that most of you will probably know about if you've played the game. If you haven't played the game, then you might use these glitches as motivation to try it out or to go and do it, because it does make the platinums a lot easier. So first of all, God of War 3 is another game I did recently over the last couple of weeks. And on PS3, there was a glitch where you complete the game once and then you complete the challenge of the gods or whatever it's called. It's like a few challenges that you do. They're quite difficult, but once you've done them, that's a hard part over. Then you need to complete the game on Titan difficulty. Now, if you've done the challenges, it unlocks an arena mode. And in the arena mode, you can jump in, you can set everything, you can set it to infinite health, and you can, I think if all your weapons are fully upgraded, then that will carry across as well. Basically, like, I recommend Googling it. Like, you'll be able to find information on this glitch easily. But what the information doesn't tell you is that, obviously, what they do explain is that, you know, you can set everything up basically so that the settings from the arena mode carry over to your Titan playthrough. And that means that you've got infinite health throughout your Titan playthrough. It makes it super easy. You've got maxed out weapons and everything, dead easy, right? But there was one part of the glitch, or there was one possible extra glitch on PS3 that actually crashed your game. Now, because you've got all the weapons to begin with in the game, there's one location you come to where there's a big chain going into the ground, and the idea is you go there right near the beginning of the game, and later on in the game you've finally got hold of a weapon that will allow you to break the chain, and that will kind of take you forward to the next, like, it takes you to the final boss battle basically. Now on PS3 people tried it out where I'm trying to remember, there's three, I'm sorry to explain this in such detail, but there's three large statues, right, and they're holding the chain. Now on the back of their head is like a blue crystal, and you need a certain weapon to be able to break the blue crystal, which is why you can't do it until near the end of the game. But with this glitch, you have that weapon at the start. Now people obviously thought, right, let's go up and break those crystals. They smash them up, and then that causes the chain to lift up far enough for you to be able to break a section of it that is also blue crystals, and then that will take you to the final boss battle. But they tried doing that early on in the game and it crashed their game. So they thought, right, we still need to play the whole game through. On PS4, it doesn't crash your game. So literally you can complete Titan difficulty in about half an hour. It's insane. You just do the introduction to the game. You get to the chain of Olympus. You quickly smash the back of the head, smash the chain, and it literally triggers. Because I was thinking, you know, there's an AI character that's with you during the final section, the final boss battle and stuff. And I thought, I haven't even met her yet, so maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe the chain's going to break, but it's not going to trigger the cutscene yet. But I broke it, and it did trigger it, and she suddenly appeared, and it literally skipped me forward to the end of the game. And I realised there was one room, I had to turn a lever and then walk through, and I was at the final boss battle. So that's amazing, guys. And that means that God of War 3, even though it's given a 5 out of 10 in difficulty, and I think maybe like 15-hour completion time or something, you can complete it ultra quick. Like, it can be done in a day. You can complete the entire platinum in one day's play. So you just play through the game on the easiest difficulty, do all the miscellaneous trophies, and get all the not really collectibles, but there's chests with upgrades, upgrade materials for your health and your your health and your item bar and your armor. Anyway, there's 3 bars, I forget exactly, but you need to upgrade them all. But there's more than you need in the game, so it doesn't matter if you miss some. There's a great guide on IGN. Follow the guide on IGN if you're going to play God of War 3. It basically takes you through, because although PowerPix has got some videos on the trophy guide, each one is separate. So there's a separate video for the health upgrades, a separate one for the item bar upgrades. So you need to kind of have all 3 videos open and watch each video simultaneously to kind of figure out which one comes next. And it's very difficult to tell which one is going to be next if you don't know the game. So the IGN link, I might post it in the description. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think any of you are going to really be playing God of War 3 now. It's a great game, but the IGN link has them all in one article, all in order. It's only a text guide. There are pictures you can view as well. Anyway, God of War 3... the challenges are a bit tricky, but once you've done them, it's such a quick platinum for a AAA game, and it's really, really good. So I recommend it, and it's real cheap now as well. Now, so what else have I played? There was another glitch I was going to... Oh, yeah. This is one that is explained in full in the trophy guide, but I did Wolfenstein The Old Blood twice in the last few weeks, and the glitch from the New Order, the original Wolfenstein on PS4, that still works. So basically you can skip the entire Uber difficulty playthrough. You can play the game on the easiest setting. Then for Uber difficulty, which you need to complete for a trophy, you can literally just start the final mission, just do the final mission, which is super easy. And there's even a glitch spot for the boss. You just hide in a little area where you can't get damaged. And yeah, that's unbelievably easy too, guys. So I figured I'd just explain some of that. It's something to talk about. It's so quiet these first few weeks of January. What I thought we would do is have a look at the release schedule just to see when things are going to start ramping up again. Because we do have some upcoming releases in January, some big games, or relatively big. So here we are, January 2017, PS4. We've got Gravity Rush 2 coming. Now, I actually played, this is another game I played, oh, sorry, knocked the camera. This is another game I played recently, the first one, obviously, Gravity Rush 1, on PS4, the remaster, played it for one of my customers. I've done it several times on Vita, and it's actually a really good game. So if you guys are, if you're aware of this but haven't really looked into it much, you can't really tell how good it is from watching it. But the control scheme and everything is really, really solid. It's really enjoyable. So I thoroughly recommend checking that out when it comes out. Now, the first game, on Vita, there's 3 DLCs. And one of the DLCs has a challenge that I always struggled with on Vita. And I never actually played the game on my account. So I've never done... whenever someone buys the Platinum, I do as much of the DLC as I can for free. I don't charge them any extra because I know that there's a couple trophies that I just don't fancy putting the time in to earn because the challenge is doable, but I always just find it really frustrating because the controls on Vita are a bit fiddly and, it's got all the motion sensitive controls and everything, and I just really hate that challenge, so I've never done it. On PS4 though, when the guy ordered it, I thought, I'll give it a try. Maybe it will be a bit easier with the PS4 controls. And it was way easier. I beat the challenge by 30 seconds. You're given, what is it, like 2 minutes 30 or something, or 5 minutes 30 or something like that. And I beat it by a whole 30 seconds. So if you're like me and you've tried Gravity Rush on Vita and you found maybe some of the DLC difficult and you skipped it, don't be put off playing the PS4 version, which isn't this. We're not, it's not Gravity. This is Gravity Rush 2. This isn't out yet, but Gravity Rush 1 is available on PS4, and it was on sale recently. The price has probably gone back up, but I got it for around a tenner. So it's a great game, totally worth checking out, and it's better on PS4 in the sense that the controls are easier to get your head around, and the whole game's just easier, and it's a lot of fun. We've got Kingdom Hearts 2.8 coming out on PS4. That would be cool. I do wonder... In fact, let's have a look, because obviously some of the Kingdom Hearts games came out as HD editions on PS3. So, right, so here's all the Kingdom Hearts ones. On PS3, we had... How were they bundled? I'm trying to remember, because although it's one disc, you had kind of... 3 games on each of those discs. So the Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, that's the first game. I think Chain of Melodies was bundled with it along with this, which is just a video. And then you've got Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Yeah. So the question is, will the PS4 version have a separate trophy set or trophy list? Where are we? That remains to be seen, I suppose. But we'll find that out over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, it's not a huge amount. The complete... they are... Okay, so they were releasing Hitman. This is a series. If you remember, Hitman released as a series, and each one had its own... was it Contra? No, it's Hitman here. So because it split into episodes, but like a Telltale game, it never actually had a platinum, even though the Telltale games do have plats. This one has 66 trophies. How many PSN points is that? So it's 1,600 PSN points. That's more than a platinum. Platinums are around 1,200. So that's like 1 1/3 platinums. But I'm wondering if the fact that they're bringing it out on disc, they're bringing the whole collection out on disc rather than like a digital season pass or whatever, maybe this will have a separate trophy set and maybe it will have a platinum because it's all bundled in together. So that would be interesting to find out. But apart from that, we don't have a lot over the next few weeks, the rest of this month. So guys, that's it for this week, basically. It might have been a long video. I've probably talked for ages on those Japanese games, and I do apologise. It's sometimes I just lose track of time. I end up repeating myself a lot. But like I say, I've had a few people asking me for details on that. And I apologize, there's not really the usual content that we speak about. There are some games that have just been added today that could end up being easy plats, but there's nothing to go on. Most of the new games that have been added that look even remotely interesting have no one playing them yet. We've got Quest of Dragons, Dear God. That sounds quite funny. That looks like a sort of 8 or 16-bit platformer. Puyo Puyo Tetris. There's a lot of very random stuff, a lot of Japanese stuff. So, unfortunately, I've kind of been back through a lot of the games that we've spoken about in previous weeks that haven't had any players yet, and I've taken a look to see if anything has got some feedback, and there's nothing really. No games seem to have even released over this last week. So, once again, I apologise for that, but hopefully it's been at least interesting to a certain degree. Obviously, not a lot of you have Vitas, but hopefully a lot of you might have been curious. You might have heard a lot about these visual novels, and I wanted to explain to you how they work. And a few of those glitches that we talked about, they're older games, obviously, but they're games that some of you might be playing now. So I thought, why not inform you of some of those glitches? But hopefully, in the next few weeks, it does take a while for things to ramp up at the start of the year, but hopefully things will start building. We'll have more to speak about during this weekly video. I am planning on putting up a video that I did refer to in one of my previous videos, but I'm going to do one talking about, or basically reviewing the channel, because the sub count has really started rising a lot recently. I thought it would be a good opportunity as a sort of celebration of reaching 5,000 subs, which is, we're over 5,600 now. So literally a few days ago, I was like, yay, we reached 5,000. I'll do a celebratory video, but by the time that video gets up, we'll probably be at 6,000 or even more. But we're going to take a look back at the history of the channel, how it's kind of developed over the almost 2 years that it's been that it's existed, and that's going to be a good way for you new subscribers to get to know me and the channel and how it's sort of got to where it is now. And most importantly, we're going to talk about future content as well, because I do have plans for some new series that we haven't started yet. Obviously, we're going to keep the trophy guides and the countdowns, top 10s and stuff like that going. And of course this series as well. But that's all in the pipeline. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope it's been not a complete disaster this week. And I feel bad that a lot of you will be new to the channel and this will be your first experience of this series, which is usually really interesting. I'd like to think, a lot of people really enjoy it and it's very informative and it helps people find those easy plats and stuff. So this week's been very different to usual, and I hope you don't judge the series based on this week's video. But I do appreciate your time watching, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Hopefully I'm back to my usual self the next time I make a video. But until then, guys, have a good one. I'll see you then.